What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into today's video, a little trade review Tuesday. That's what's in store for today. So we're looking inside the Webull. You guys can see that we are currently up on the day 145. I know it's small. It's in the top left. I want to review today's trades, and we also put on some swings. We'll talk more about the status of the swings on Saturday once we have like a full update on the portfolio. But for the most part, if you guys were going back to last night's stream, you'll actually understand where like three of these, if not four of these positions came from. A VIX swing and then a couple small caps with very, very small size, because we're not trying to throw away the money that we're making in terms of day trades. And when we say money that we're making in terms of day trades, well, here is our look. I'm going to get myself off the screen so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. But here is our look at the past like month or so, 3-4 weeks now, of the main Webull account. So we just saw the accounts back over 8K after our setback to finish off the month of November. We've pretty much, instead of trying to, have a home run swing to make it all back, we've just steadily grinded. And what you're noticing is that we've got some pretty nice consistency, to be honest. I mean, it's just been slow and steady, but just solid stuff over the past couple of weeks. We're looking right now. I condensed it down to the past couple of days. Let me see if I go back to the past. Let's go to this month and show what's been going on really for this past month so far in December. We're up about $1,400, 68 trades. We have a win rate of 66%. Hey, nothing insane, but it's solid. We've got a winning percentage of days of 80. We're winning on 86% of the days. Like, we're finishing the day green 86% of the time. Now, it's only been 14 days, so take it with a grain of salt. But the consistency so far in December has been awesome. And what you want to look at and talk about Mark Douglas, you talk about, trading psychology, and what you're looking for is just this. It's just a steady rising equity curve. I mean, that's what we're getting. So can't be happier with the progress here. We've kind of settled down and things have we've got better in terms of our mental situation and dealing with this stuff. And also we're just kind of trading as we see fit. We're not forcing any BS and trying to do stupid stuff like we were doing in months past. And we've really only been doing this more so consistently for about like 2.5 months, really since or not even that, really since the end of October is when we kind of clean the account out and win all cash every night pretty much. Now, we have inched back in to a couple of small swings, although the risks on those are pretty tight in terms of what they could do to our downside. So I want to review today, which was $112 in the green. I'm also not counting any of the swings. This is just day trades in terms of what this is now tracking. So the past 2 days, Friday and on Monday, these are 2 days that I have not been on the charts. There was a small position swing on Friday. We talked about that in the last Saturday video. And then Monday was a super small trade. I was pretty much unpacking, just recently moved into a new place, unpacking and took it with like half the size that I usually take. And so made $30 and was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to walk away and this is fine. Green's green, and made a few bucks off a little bit of a trade. But today we're back to, to normal almost in a sense, a normal day. And what we did was we had a couple of trades on just Tesla. We just focused on Tesla here. And the biggest, or the moral of the story in terms of today's Tesla was, if we look at this right here, our net P&L or net ROI, what do you see? Well, our losers are small. We have a loser right here. Let me go back to this. A loser of $60 to start the day. No big deal. Came back, made 125. Boom. Make it all back and more, right? No worries. The next trade, lose 6. Who cares? Move on. Tried to play calls. Again, what do we notice? We tried to play calls for a bounce because I thought Tesla was going to hold around the 140-ish area, 140, 145. It did not. It did not. And so we recognized that quickly and got into puts and played the puts and made much more money on the puts. And notice that both of these puts were essentially playing after I saw something in the charts that I did not like when I was in my calls. I exited my calls and then I entered into puts actually shortly after and then took advantage of the downside. So that's Tesla. We ended up with a 50% win rate today. So took 4 trades, won on 2, lost on 2, but coming out 112 in the green is beautiful, right? It's what you want to see. So profit factor of 2.7, which is really, really solid, meaning that we are actually, in a very, very profitable system. Anything over 1.0 is a profitable system. So today was a nice day, and let's unpack it. So inside of this, we're looking at TradeZella. They track everything. It does cost money, but it's worth it in my view. So Right hand side, we see the chart. And I'll want to go back and unpack the charts in just 1 second from what I was seeing big picture. But let's look at these trades. So we had this one entry right here on Tesla for this position that we're looking at, these Tesla calls. I was looking for Tesla as it was basing around this 146 area. I was looking to see if Tesla was going to maybe hold the lows of the prior day. If you guys were to zoom this back out, I know this is a 1 minute chart, so it's a little bit thrown off. But if you zoom back out, the low of the prior day was shortly or was just below where I entered. So I was looking for Tesla to hold the low of the prior day. The S&P was strong at the time, so SPY was strong, and that's what I was looking for. We did not get that, and I exited pretty quickly after that. We got a pop back up, and then it rejected back off to the downside, and that's where I took my next trade. So the first one was a loser. Here comes the next one. So we got that pop back up on Tesla, and then it fell right back off. I was actually in prior to that. I actually entered this before that, but my risk was going to be up over this 147. We had a couple of wicks prior up around this 147, so that was my risk. I got very, very close to this stop loss, and I was actually very close to stopping out, believe it or not, on this trade. But then we ended up flushing off, and I was looking for a push down to new lows. So risking up to 147, I entered here around 146. I'm going to risk $1, and I'm looking for at least $2 of downside, and we got more than that. We entered around 146, and we got out around, or actually sub 144, so the risk reward was beautiful there. It actually went for more. Well, it went for a lot more on the day, believe it or not, but that was that next trade. I want to go to my charts in just 1 second, but I'll walk through all these so you guys can kind of see them. The next one was a small loss on calls. I was looking for it to base and hold this like 142 area and then push back up. We got a little bit of a push. And then when I saw these rejections and when I saw this lower high right here on this candle, I just got out quickly after that. I was not going to hold this thing for a new low, and it ended up going for a new low. So we took a very small loss on that one. Then came back and had it again for puts. That second trade was, or that third trade was calls. Took it for puts here. I was playing it versus this to make lower highs. So as long as we don't go back above this 143, I wanted to be short. I took a position here, had opportunity to take profits, but it was small profits. So I was looking for a bigger flush down towards like 140 or so on Tesla. We pushed back the upside. I then took another put right here with a tight stop, was going to be up over these recent highs. So just over this 143. It was either going to be, I'm going to lose a few extra bucks, or it's going to add, or it's going to actually bring my average up or bring my average down on this position. So I had a 3.2 average on these puts. This was a 2.92. So it brought my average down to, I believe, 3.06. And then I took one off here at 325, 3.25. And then I took the next one off at 3.4. Could have got a little bit more. And had I held later, or had I just let this one work, it would have paid a lot more. But in the grand scheme, you can't complain when you zoom out and look at it that way. So again, on these, we have these entries right here. Here's the options on the bottom left now. This is the option chart. These contracts that I bought for, let's say, an average of roughly $3 ended up finishing the day at over 550, believe it or not. So that was the big picture. Let's talk about why I saw what I saw. I'm going to adjust this chart back to bring it to dark mode, and I want to bring this back to my hollow candles. So big picture on Tesla. Here's the 1 year, 1 day. The reason why I had those two small losses on the calls is because I was actually looking at this, and I was looking for Tesla to potentially hold this volume support or this higher volume node around this like the low 140s. I was looking for that to be kind of an area that we may see a bounce in terms of volume support, right? Didn't get it. We didn't get it. The big picture, though, if you zoom this guy out, what you will notice, and this is one of those things I probably could have been more paying closer attention to, was there is this gap right here on Tesla that just pretty much filled here on, or by the end of the day into the close. But it was a gap up from back in November of 2020, believe it or not. So we had this gap up to the upside right here on Tesla, and then we have now finally filled it about a little over 2 years later, believe it or not. So I could have looked and said, you know what, we might actually fill the gap, which is in the upper 130s. That was, I guess, my mistake in terms of those calls. I was just thinking that maybe we see some volume support, and the market was strong. It was a green day in the market, so I was like, okay, we got some market support. It's been super weak. We got volume support here, but it was wrong, and it was fine. And no, who cares, right? There's no bias. There's no need to have a bias. I was looking at things that I thought could be signs that we get a bounce, and it didn't happen. Maybe it happens tomorrow, right? For all I care, but it didn't happen. And so recognizing that pretty quickly and noticing that, you know what, every time SPY pops up, what we essentially got was a lower high on Tesla. SPY could go wherever it wants to go, but we kept seeing these lower highs and just a steady trend to the downside and steady lower lows. There was no reason to fight that trend, hence why we ended up making more and recognizing that and getting in on the put side of things and playing it. So it's not always going to be this easy in terms of like identifying the trends and identifying the weakness in terms of like a Tesla right now, but you can kind of see that doesn't necessarily matter what your bias is. It doesn't matter, what you think is going to happen. As long as you can adjust on the fly and notice trends, there you go. In terms of why I didn't really care for the S&P, if I go back to SPY, look at this move. It's kind of choppy, right? If you zoom this bad boy out on SPY, on the grand scheme of things, you've seen some a lot cleaner move to the downside. And right now, it's just kind of in this weird consolidation. Not weird, it's just consolidating. We only had about a couple of dollar range on SPY, so I just didn't really care for that. There were other stocks out there I'm sure you could have played, but I just focus on Tesla because it seemed super weak. And when you have relative strength or relative weakness in the overall or in a stock versus the overall market, it gives you a little bit of an edge in terms of what side you want to play. So ideally, what I would have liked to see was the S&P weak. If the S&P was red and weak, I probably would have never touched Tesla calls at all. But since the S&P was stronger or relatively had some relative strength versus Tesla, that's why I took a shot at those calls for a bounce and just didn't happen, and it is what it is. So that's today's update. Again, portfolio on the day finishes up 156, about 2%. We talked about 1% a day keeps the doctor away, I think, in a recent video, but it's been a lot of fun. We can talk about a similar situation. I did take one of those trades on the small account. So let me actually jump back to the small account IRA. And I believe if I go back to the small account, what you will see is, what is this, the past month, we're climbing out of a rough start to the month. We've actually come back. I had a nice little day here on the small account, but today was one of those days where we actually had, let's see, just one trade. It was one of those Tesla puts, took one contract, made 20%, $31 in the small account, done. No need to, force more. That's it. The small account, by the way, is up to about 453. So we're actually pretty green on the small account challenge, I believe, overall. Let's go back past 3 months. Yeah, we're green the past 3 months on this small account challenge, and by a decent margin now, about 160 or $175, about 63% to the upside on this. So it's been fun. Not going to stop trading these guys. I want to see if we can get the small account to about $1,000. There's no time frame. See if we can get to $1,000, and then maybe we'll just separate this account as our swing account if we like swings. But for those who are interested, Saturday's video will dive deeper into what's going on swing-wise, because I do like what we're seeing in the small cap land. And we talked about it on Monday night's live stream, which is posted up on the channel if you guys want to see. Quick scan. We have a couple of 5, 10 small caps that we're looking at that are giving us signs that they're obviously being manipulated and they're getting destroyed the past couple of months, past 2 months more specifically. But there's some nice volume surges coming in, which gives us some potential signs that there could be some bounce action, some spike action in the near term. And that's all I like to play for when it comes to small cap swings. Playing it small for now, but that is the deal. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it was helpful. Any other thoughts, comments, leave them down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.